Well, I say potato, you say potato.
Potato, potato.
A modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And this week we have X-Men movie facts.
Okay.
Doctor Strange starts to appear.
Yeah.
A few new trailers.
Yes, a few.
And more.
Ooh, I always love the more part. That means we got a full show.
There's a lot in this show that is just kind of popped up over the week.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to think that on Monday we were getting, the Preacher trailer, and then by Friday we were getting the Warcraft trailer.
Yeah, it's funny. I was never really dialed in to kind of how a specific subset of pop culture news worked until we started doing the show. So now I'm very familiar with kind of how superhero news comes out, and I never understood how it's so consistent. Like every week we get something. Like it just goes to show you like how big it is now that we can talk about something every single week.
Yeah, it's true. And even if not, movie news is out, the ass these days. In television news, even if it's not in production, just the whispers of something.
Oh, yeah.
Is enough to spark flames.
Yeah, and I mean, if this got even less macro, and we just talk generally about movies or TVs, we could have a podcast every single day of the week.
That's true.
So it's just, it's so awesome that we get all this good stuff. And it always, every week, I never think we're going to get anything. And then there's always something popping up.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I didn't think we'd have much this week either. But, I mean, again, here we sit on Sunday, and looking back to what we got on Sunday, technically starting Sunday night after the last podcast, it's just so much. And it doesn't feel like it's been a week. It feels like it's been a month.
And it always helps that there's always something filming, so that always helps. And we're going to talk about something that's filming right now. We got lots of set photos popping up for that gym.
Yeah, and totally, I agree with that. That's fun. That gets me excited. I kind of want to mention I watched Star Wars Episode 3 this weekend.
Okay,
and
how'd that feel?
Not as good as I remember it. I guess the hardest thing for me is I'm really excited for Star Wars Battlefront, the game.
Mm-hmm.
I pre-ordered it and it's downloaded on my Xbox right now, actually, and it comes out next week. But the transition from whiny, bitchy Anakin to very reserved, menacing, kind of almost I'd say he's kind of wise Darth Vader. Is almost scary. What happened? How did he go from, oh my gosh, you betrayed me, and I'm so angsty and feeling-y, to being Darth Vader. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I always kind of felt I don't know what maybe the lore was like in books before the prequels came along, but I always felt like there should have been a transition from Anakin to Darth Vader instead of just he fell into a pit of lava, let's throw him in a suit. I was kind of maybe expecting we'd get to see him kind of in half armor at some point in time. That could have been cool.
Well, I mean, even if we got more of Vader at the end of 3 rather than just that being the climactic endpoint, I think we would have got more. And I was talking to my Comic UI co-host Brian about some of this stuff, and apparently they kind of build on it in the lore, how he loses a bunch of his power because he got pretty much chopped up. But that's one of the things that's going to bother me about the films, and again gets me even more hyped for the upcoming Force Awakens, is maybe they'll expunge on that a little more.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got a whole segment where we're going to talk specifically about the Force Awakens, but I'll piggyback on your Star Wars bit. Me and my wife are starting to plan our Star Wars watching event. Because we're trying to
marathon.
We're trying to figure out the right time. I'm gonna avoid the prequels. I don't think they're gonna be necessarily necessary. I think I can glaze over the prequels with a note card when I'm showing it to my wife.
Well, thankfully I'm watching these and taking notes on fun facts, so you can just read those fun facts and draw them instead of actually reading them, because
that's
you're
true.
Save yourself
I think that's going to be a good idea. But we're trying to figure out the best type of schedule. We think December is going to be a little bit too hectic for us, so I think some weekend in November. I think we're going to do the first film, the original first film. I think we're gonna do that on a Friday night, and then Saturday we'll have Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Okay, so you're gonna do 1 and then 2, 3.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna have a whole thing about it. I'm gonna write some sort of intro to it. I think I talked about this already, but other little Star Wars bits that keep infecting my life. We were walking through a CVS, and I don't know if it was left over from Halloween or if it's just like merchandising just running rampant, because Star Wars is a huge thing when you can find Star Wars T-shirts in like a Kroger or a grocery store.
That's true.
But they had a Star Wars lightsaber toys, the kind you flick out.
Oh yeah, my favorite.
And they put older Anakin, like from the episode you just watched, on the packaging. And I was examining the packaging, expecting this to be old, but I can't tell if it's just like drugstore pharmacy packaging, and they just don't give a shit, and they just put whatever they want on it. Because I'm just like, I really hope this isn't like new official confirmed Star Wars branding, and they're throwing Hayden Christensen on it. I don't want that.
Okay, so this is definitely a new one. I will tell you, because you sent me the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one of the lightsaber builders. Meaning that you can actually connect all the lightsabers together to make crazy ass looking lightsabers that would never exist.
Okay.
But I mean, that's how I know this is one of the newer ones. Why I think they're using Anakin as the person on the packaging is because they need to make as many of these things to connect as they can.
So they're just going through their character library.
Yeah, and I think this is the one he lost in episode 2 when it was cut in half. So I mean, I don't think I hope it's not any allusion to the new one, but merchandising out the ass for this film, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, before we start rolling in the news, I want to make sure you came out of your car dealership experience today unscathed, because it is a nightmare going to the car dealership.
Yes. So, long story short, my fiance had a car accident a few weeks ago, totaled her car. They gave her a check. She went and bought a new one today. And we went and test drove them yesterday. So we were ready. We knew exactly what we want. We knew how much we were going to pay. We went in today, and apparently Sundays are like half, like they only have like half their crew going. So like we sat probably for an hour and a half waiting on the financing person to get all the paperwork in order. Despite the fact that it was approved and all this stuff was done mostly yesterday. So between, I think it was 2 and 5, or even if not, probably closer to 1:30 to 5. We were in this, and our guy who was helping us, not the same one as yesterday, like he had a turtleneck on, and like he was like, like we don't want you to be bored, so I'll entertain you. I can analyze your handwriting. I'm like, what kind of magician are you selling cars on the weekend? He was really, really, really weird. So, like he paid my fiance $5 to write a positive Google review for him right there on the spot.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't pay people to write reviews for us, and I'm like, damn, he must be desperate.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you need to give shout outs. You need to go through the proper channels to get that review. You
need to have like a personality for working in cars, not being like totally creepy.
Oh,
so
that sounds creepy. Well, I'm glad you're still alive, and if anybody else out there is heading to the car dealership anytime soon, be wary of the financing and the creepy finance guy.
Don't go on Sunday. Don't go on Sunday. That's all I'll recommend. But it's a Mazda, and it's a crossover utility vehicle, which is smaller than a sport utility, and it just makes me think I should probably get a new car too. So
yeah, you both need to be rolling in style, I suppose.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean it's that time of year.
Well, we're just dripping in that podcast money, so
yeah, right. And that was the red. We're in the red.
Yeah, the pennies are just rolling off, man.
Yeah, oh, so many pennies. Well, how about we jump into some news?
You know what? I think that's the whole point of this show, so I think that's a good idea.
We've killed 9 minutes, so let's get into this. X-Men Apocalypse, something we have not talked about in a while.
Yeah, this is in the making.
Okay, so they're going back doing some reshoots. It's part of the scheduling process. This is nothing to be worried about. They always come back to do fill-ins, or like people who are busy, they'll come back and do them. Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, is to be a part of these reshoots, so we may be seeing him in the movie at some capacity.
Okay.
Now, I don't think in major capacity, but at least some points.
Yeah, I was never really sure where we were at with Hugh Jackman in Apocalypse, because he was supposed to be in it, right?
I don't think so. I think he's kind of like, I imagine more like a first-class role. He's too busy making Pan to be in Apocalypse.
Okay.
But I don't think he's a main part, no.
Yeah, maybe he maybe it's like a post-credit scene or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah, I know he's getting ready for his third Wolverine outing, which I'm excited for. But I know he's going to be part of these. Maybe they'll add him into a scene or two. But I don't think he'll be a huge part of it.
Yeah, maybe they'll try to set up his supposed old man Logan storyline, since he's one and done. He's got one more left in him.
Yeah. Also, along with that news, the teaser is releasing soon.
Ooh, what's the release of this film? I know it's summer.
It's May. It's late May.
Oh yeah, so that teaser's got to be coming soon.
Yeah, I mean it's the same. I mean we don't have a Civil War teaser yet, and it's early May, so I imagine a December teaser with this one. Maybe with Star Wars, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I always love December for movies because it's a very unique time of the year where you do get these gems of blockbuster movies. Usually, if it's going to be a blockbuster type of movie in December, it's going to be a big deal. They don't just take these wishy-washy ideas and put them out in December. But then also, December has these kind of these Oscar-worthy films, which are good on different levels. Obviously, they don't quite have the spectacle, but you get kind of an interesting mix of really different films in the theater. So December is always fun, and if they're going to throw out some teasers of Civil War and X-Men Apocalypse in December, it's going to be a fun month.
I think it's sad that, I mean, when we think superhero movies, X-Men's kind of on the lower scale right now. Simply because I feel Days of Future Past was almost yesterday, even though it was the same time as Civil War. Or not Civil War, Winter Soldier. But I mean, with the re-release they just did with the Rogue cut, I mean, it still feels like the movie just came out recently. But that's cool. I mean, X-Men Apocalypse needs to get us excited, and what it's gonna do is gonna build off the hype of Deadpool. Yeah. Deadpool is coming out February, right? We're excited.
He looks like Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds was having some fun over Halloween. I don't know if you saw that video.
I did. He went around with the superheroes in his like neighborhood dressed as Deadpool.
Oh, that was so funny.
So, yeah, great here. But we have some new facts about the film. There's a big list of them that were released over the week. But I want to focus on 3 of them.
Okay.
3 of them kind of drew my attention here. 1, this disregards X-Men Origins Wolverines. Okay. I mean, it pretty much flat out makes fun of it. But like says that those events never happened.
Yeah, and I think we kind of get that from Days of Future Past, how that kind of change the past. So I think that makes sense, and everybody, I think even if there wasn't some sort of time traveling event, I think they could have made Deadpool and they could have just ignored Origins anyway, because the people who have seen the movie are already doing it themselves. They don't really need a storyline to do it for them.
Right, and I mean, Deadpool's that kind of character anyway. He'd be like, yeah, that was nothing. Ignore that. So that's great. 70% of the leaked script from earlier a few years ago is actually in the final movie.
So how does that make you feel? Because I believe you read it, right?
I did, and if you go to our link below, you can find it on Comic UI. That's pretty good. I think it's awesome. I think some of the jokes were of the era, I guess, a few years ago. So I think those have been updated. But I trust this. This is a very solid, a funny script to read. And if they can hit that humor and get that in the actual production process, it's going to be awesome.
So do you think this kind of spoils the movie for you then?
I don't. I don't know. 30% is a big part of changes. So I don't know really what's going to happen or what parts were changed. So I don't think it spoils it for me at all. I wouldn't recommend reading it unless you got a lot of time, but I don't think anyone who read it is going to feel cheated when they watch it.
Yeah, well, and I also imagine it's been a while since you've read it too.
Yeah, it's been over a year. So
yeah, and plus since it was a script, I imagine it's similar to like, oh, I'm rewatching a movie, but the first time I watched it, I was half awake and I don't really remember it, and it was years ago.
Right, and totally, and what a production script, versus the actual movie could be different as well. So, definitely not banking on that being ruined. It doesn't ruin it for me. No, long story short. Also, lastly, this fits into the larger X-Men timeline.
Yeah, now we're starting to get closer to my question that I want answered for a long time now, is I want to know how this fits into the timeline. I want to know what decade it's in. I want to know how they're going to age characters up to Deadpool's timeline. Or maybe Deadpool happens in the 90s and they're going to meet somewhere in there. I got to know.
Yeah, it's true. I'm going to guess that it's more of a modern era film, simply because Colossus is grown up and actually Russian in this movie. He takes on the full Russian aspect. So it's going to be more of the comic version of Colossus, and I think that will give us a modern Deadpool, and since maybe we might have to wait for Apocalypse to get a lot of the answers still. So, I mean, those are 3 points I think really stand out to me about the notes here. And you guys can go read them, the links in the notes below. But I really am excited for Deadpool. I think it is our next superhero movie beyond Star Wars. I don't count Star Wars. Mm-hmm. But it's the first one in 2016 and our next one. So, we are less than 4 months away.
I'm so excited.
Or exactly 4 months away. So, yeah, I'm thrilled. But what we are 12 days from currently is Jessica Jones. Mm-hmm. Are you ready for Jessica Jones?
I'm ready. I'm starting to plan a schedule here.
Okay, I don't know if I want to rewatch Daredevil or not before that, so I'm in the same boat. What we have, and this is spoilery, so feel free to click at your own discretion. I'm just going to talk about it a little bit. It's all episode titles and synopsis have been leaked.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, so we've kind of seen this before. I think we mentioned it a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. But they've changed the titles of some of the things to be more actually less revealing.
Okay.
But I think a certain other superhero will make an appearance in Jessica Jones.
Okay.
That is not Luke Cage.
Okay. Well, that's all.
Yeah, so also some of these descriptions, I kind of want to go back to what you said. Is Luke Cage in everything? He is not.
Okay.
If these are to go from, Luke Cage is not, he's in several of them, but he is not a main point for them.
Okay, and I was honestly kind of expecting that. I figured he would kind of maybe bookend the series. Maybe we'd see him at the beginning, maybe pop up in the middle, and possibly be at the very end because it might segue into his show. So I think that's good. I'm not surprised either way. But I figured with Jessica Jones coming up, this is going to be our next spoiler cast. But I think just to let everybody else catch up, we can riff about this live on the show right now. But I figured we could kind of, we'll do our best to watch a large chunk of it the weekend it comes out, and then our listeners can tune in on Monday, and they can get kind of our general idea. And then the following week, when more people that have lives and other things to do can finally get around to watching it all, we'll throw up the spoiler cast a week later.
Yeah, so expect that the Sunday after Thanksgiving, I guess, is kind of what we're saying here. But I'm excited. I'm ready to watch it. I need Jessica Jones. I want to go back and watch Daredevil, but I don't know if I want to since it's kind of a thing. But if you're interested in learning the synopsis and titles, go check our link below.
Yeah. And it's not even necessarily more just Jessica Jones, but we haven't had any good juicy Marvelness since Ant-Man. I'm behind on S.H.I.E.L.D. by a couple episodes, but S.H.I.E.L.D.'s been good so far, but Jessica Jones just kind of takes it to this darker, deeper, more serious level, so I kind of put it on a different plane. Yeah,
with 13 episodes all at once, I mean, it's going to be your energy level is going to be to the wall watching that, whereas S.H.I.E.L.D. is week to week and 20 something episodes. I think you get a slower burn than you're gonna get in Jessica Jones. So totally excited for that. And you're not gonna be disappointed with S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. only getting cooler as we go.
I'm hearing good things, and we haven't really had a chance to talk much about S.H.I.E.L.D., but I think a lot of these shows do like mid-season finales now, a little cliffhanger in the middle, and I think we'll circle back around to S.H.I.E.L.D. Probably around that time, which will probably be like December, January.
They usually go right before Christmas break for those, and though this had its 50th episode this week, so it had a big reveal there for that as well.
Good job, Whedons.
Yes. So Doctor Strange, something I did not expect to see much of yet, is filming. We have pictures out the ass.
Yeah, this was like the sleeper news of the week. No one really knew when this was going to start popping up.
Yes. So the first thing is they've added a new cast member, Michael Stuhlbarg. Joins the cast. He's from Men in Black 3. I don't know him. I don't know what role he's playing, but
I don't think a lot of people had a chance to see Men in Black 3 anyway. So
yeah, I did. I watched it in theaters simply because it's a Marvel imprint. It was a comic actually before it was a movie.
You're just like, you are a completionist at heart, man.
Yeah, it's a problem. But that was kind of the starter news. But then we started seeing pictures of Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange on set.
Yeah,
we got him in. Looks like he's really rough. He's got a beard going on and long shaggy hair.
Well, I think the best kind of part about these photos is the first one that kind of dropped was a really, really far away shot, and you just kind of had to squint and peer through the poor resolution of the camera. But then as kind of like the filming went on, we got way, way more clear shots. So you're starting to kind of get a vibe of really what's going on over there.
Yeah, and then next up we have the first look at Baron Mordo. Chiwetel Ejiofor. I don't know. I probably fucked his name up real bad. But he's got his green robes on. He's talking to the Doctor Strange, who looks like he's on I guess a monk's type mission to Nepal. And he's talking to him, and that's awesome. It's great to see those. And lastly, we got a picture of the first logo. This is the director, Scott Derrickson, wearing the hat with the Doctor Strange logo on it.
It's a cool hat, man. I want it.
Yes. I mean, it's a pretty cool logo. It looks like a basketball sometimes when I kind of glance at it. But that's exciting. I'm ready for more Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I mean this is pretty big news, but I don't think it's quite as effective because we don't have the iconic facial hair yet. We don't have that wizard mustache and goatee going on yet. And hopefully, I'm hoping we get an official. Like an official photo, the first official photo of him before we get any sort of leaks, because I want to see the official head to toe Benedict Cumberbatch Doctor Strange outfit on on a real nice photo.
Would you take officially released concept art of that instead of a photo as first?
I think I would be okay with that because there've already been some fan made concept art that has looked pretty good, so I have a feeling it's going to be somewhat similar.
Yeah. So, I mean, the only thing I want to point out is for this story, the Doctor Strange animated film, I think, is what they're pulling from. A lot of this from.
That's what I was going to bring up, too.
And on the larger photo of Baron Mordo, if you zoom in, you see on his hand it's bandaged up. Leading credence to that, he's a famous surgeon who had his hands crushed, and he's looking for mystical things to heal his hands when he becomes, the Sorcerer Supreme, so to speak. But I'm excited for Doctor Strange. That's one of those things. It's still a year off, but the more hype for it, the better I feel, because I'm a big Strange fan.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. I haven't read too much any sort of story that's specifically tied to him. It's mainly just been that animated show, and then every once in a while he pops up in like a team or something. So I'm excited. Benedict Cumberbatch is the man.
Yes, he is, and he needs to do more Sherlock. So. Why don't we kick it up a notch to Star Wars?
Whoa, Star Wars!
That's it. It's becoming iconic amongst our fans for Mike's Star Wars battle cry. PSA, this is from us.
Yeah.
TV spots now exist. Beware the internet.
Yeah, we notoriously say TV spots is the land for spoilers. I mean, not necessarily like they're going to reveal the end of the movie, but heck, you would have seen Falcon in the TV spots for Ant-Man. So if you want to stay hidden and in the dark, like, you probably should avoid TV spots. Honestly, you should probably just cut the cord and cancel your cable subscription anyway, because in my opinion, it's worthless. But be careful. Yeah,
it's true. And there's some other information coming out. Last names are being revealed on the internet as well.
Oh no.
I did read one.
Oh no.
I did. It doesn't affect me like it does you. I'm okay. I think it actually raises more questions than answers. But the TV spots are now starting to appear. We are about a month away. The internet, you're watching TV shows, you're not even like over the local air, might be revealing as well. So be careful.
Yeah.
Age of Ultron had some before S.H.I.E.L.D., and I saw some stuff there I didn't want to see.
Oh, no. And plus, on top of that, the Japanese trailer came out this week, and I avoided that too. I hear it's pretty tame. There's just some extra bonus footage. But even I saw the thumbnail that was circling around the blogs that they were using for the Japanese footage. And I saw like a scene that, I could have assumed it would have happened, but I would have liked to know that, maybe it wouldn't exactly go down like that. So, there's always little things you can if you're a big enough Star Wars fan, you can kind of make judgment calls on what you're looking at. So, just avoid it. You're not that far away from December.
It's true. I think the international trailer, I'm gonna go on the other end and say that me and Quentin, our friend Quentin, collaborator for the show, watched it as well. It's kind of mind-blowing. I kind of wish they'd put that in the actual last trailer for us.
Oh, yeah.
Simply because I think it gives you more of an awe. Like, I was in awe of this footage rather than, like, oh, they're going to... What? Oh, they shouldn't have shown that. I was in more awe and feel it's still pretty tame. It uses a lot of this... It's sort of a lot of repetition, but what they do add definitely makes it that much more dramatic.
Yeah, now we're in this nerve-wracking zone now, with last names kind of dropping, these TV spots, people out there love like taking little bits out of TV spots and turning it into little cruddy animated GIFs, and now I have to avoid those. It's like I feel like I got to start putting my blinders up, and I don't like that I have to do that.
Yeah, it's true, and especially where I got to get all this other news sources, like if someone puts the wrong thing in a title, like I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to be like, oh, damn it.
Yeah. Just if you want to be safe in the meantime, some character posters came out last week. Go look at those. They're pretty cool. They'll make good wallpapers on your phones, and they're looking pretty nice. So go look at those. There's no spoilers there.
Yeah, definitely not. Character posters are pretty cool. I mean, they got, I think it was Rey, Finn, Kylo Ren, Han Solo, Leia, and I think five. I think there was a sixth. No, the sixth one was Deadpool, and I sent you that one because someone did that Deadpool with a chimichanga in the vein of that posters, and those were entertaining. Yeah,
well, it's funny. I remember when we were talking about Deadpool and its early incarnation on the show, I said that one of the things I was looking forward to is the marketing for the movie. Like, I really wanted them to kind of riff on like movies already out, and they've started to do that, which is awesome. I love that they're coming out with artwork with Deadpool and riffing on other movies, so that's great. I'm super excited for both of these.
Yeah, it's a good time to be in this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Well, that's it for Star Wars. Again, just beware the internets. First thing I sent Mike this morning was get off the internet, like unplug and go away.
And plus there was no context, so it's just like, oh god, what do I do? And the funny thing is, I think the first thing I did is I went to Facebook, which was probably a bad idea to go, because people there, they don't care.
Yeah, no, they don't. People are dicks. Batman versus Superman, because that's a thing too.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Lex Luthor has been confirmed is manipulating Batman and Superman.
Okay, that's.
I don't know how, but that was the synopsis for the movie has been updated to mention that.
Yeah, well, I could see him doing that. I mean, that's kind of Lex's quote unquote superpower. I mean, if he's not building something mechanical where he could like punch something, he's got to be able to use his brain. So
yeah, so I think the biggest thing with this is we don't have a history of Batman in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Superman movie, so we know that exists. Wonder Woman, Batman, Lex Luthor, they're all kind of unknowns, and I think Lex Luthor and Superman, that makes sense. Okay, but we don't know Batman's history in this universe yet, because he's the older Batman. He's been around a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as they reveal that in the movie, it's going to be really, really interesting. And we're going to learn a lot more about these potential Ben Affleck solo Batman films.
Yeah, man, we've been hearing so much about the movie. We're getting little tidbits here. Like, the movie just needs to come out. All these movies just need to come out. How about they just all plan on one weekend and I just go binge watch, and then I just end up in a superhero coma at the end.
Yeah, it's gonna be one a month next. I mean, we're gonna have spoiler cast episodes all the time next year. I don't know. I kind of like them. They're fun. I like not holding back.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to. I think you're gonna have to push your nuptials, your wedding to 2017. There's just not room next year, man.
Yeah, I don't think 2017 gets any easier.
You know what? Just tell your fiance we're just gonna have to push it past Phase 4. I don't know how we're gonna fit it in here.
Well, how about we just elope early on and just get it over with?
Yeah, just say you got a letter out to Kevin Feige. You're trying to see if you can fit your wedding into Phase 5.
Yeah, and he's probably going to tell me no. We need to push it to Phase 6. Or make it a TV series, one of the two.
We're going to get you in the doghouse. Let's move along.
Yeah, I'm glad she doesn't listen to this. Wonder Woman. That's a thing.
That's another thing.
Yes, Nicole Kidman is wanted for a female role in the film.
All right. We're getting some serious names in the movie here.
Yeah, so far we have Chris Pine and Gal Gadot.
Gadot, I believe.
Hey,
yeah.
I'll take either one.
All right.
I mean, she's going to make her appearance in Batman vs. Superman. Chris Pine and possibly Nicole Kidman. I mean, who doesn't want a piece of that superhero money these days? Like, now that DC's kind of building theirs up, like, everyone's like, all right, I got choices now. Like, I don't have to wait for those ultra rare, lucrative Marvel roles. We can gamble on DC right now.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman is a big deal just in the sense I believe it's coming out before Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah, by far now. Yes, since Captain Marvel's been moved.
Yeah, so I mean, this is gonna be our first big budget superhero woman movie. So they got to go all out. Let's get everybody we can in it. Let's make this awesome. Let's not put this like to the side. Like, throw as much money as we can at it. This has got to be awesome. And I'm totally looking forward to it. I really hope they get some realistic choreographers on here, because one thing that always bugs me is when I see women fighting in a movie, they're always choreographed like they're like dancing, like they're some sort of like they're doing some sort of like movement piece on a stage. Like I want to see like someone like really like beat the crap out of each other.
Well, see, I'm banking on this being a romantic comedy. And that's DC's twist on it. They're like, oh, genre films work for Marvel. This is genre film. We're gonna put a romantic comedy with a Wonder Woman twist.
I don't think that's gonna work.
The Devil Wears Prada, but with Wonder Woman.
Oh no, I think they're already doing that with Supergirl anyway. So.
Oh, that's right. I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah.
I heard the second episode wasn't any better.
Oh, well, I'm gonna catch up eventually. I'm gonna give it at least 3 episode try.
Here's our shout out. Our listener Jim Mintier tweeted at us today. He says he watched Supergirl. He's not a fan of it, but it's good for his daughters. It's like a role model kind of thing.
Yeah, we need role models.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I think that's a fair assessment. Again, I'm still banking off the images I've seen, especially of Red Tornado looking goofy as hell. Just get by. And I talked to my friend again. She watched the first episode, and the second episode I asked her, I'm like, did it get any better? She's like, no. So,
well, I think you got to give these TV shows a pass when it comes to how these characters look, because I don't know if if you're caught up on The Flash, but they had an episode in the past.
I'm caught up on The Flash
with another guy who basically catches on fire. And I don't want to spoil anything, but you can definitely tell they saved all their budget for a creature appearance at the very end of the episode, and they just got some intern in college to put some Action Essentials After Effects flames on the other guy.
Yeah, it's true. Firestorm was looking a little rough, but King Shark, that's where it's at.
Ooh, that was good.
Yeah, and that's 2 episodes ago now, so I mean, I don't feel too bad saying that.
Okay.
But yeah, so Supergirl, Wonder Woman, we got women superheroes taking over. Let's do them some justice.
Yeah.
Do you like Star Trek?
You know what? It's cool. It's cool, man. I didn't grow up on it, but it's cool.
Okay, so I've not watched the TV series ever. Like, it's not been something I went out and sought out. It'd become parodies of itself by the time I would have wanted to watch it anyway. And I saw the first 2 movies and then the last 2 movies. So they're creating a new TV series on CBS.
I mean, I think that makes sense.
I'm really surprised that there's not one on the air after the first movie came out, the reboot, because I mean the popularity was through the roof again, right? But this will be premiering in January 2017 on CBS All Access. I mean, it's a digital-only show.
Wow, that's actually the big news right there, because I was going to say a new Star Trek series is a big deal, and I think this would kill, as in do very, very well on TV. So if CBS is just like, no, we need to ramp up our digital library with a Star Trek show, that's a huge deal. And I'm kind of curious if they're going to try to tie it into the J.J. Abrams universe. You know, maybe they'll do like a side story with side characters. I don't know.
That's a good question, because Star Trek Beyond comes out in July of this year. And this TV series will pick up, in 2017. So it could definitely be in this new universe, because no TV series has existed in this new universe yet.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, we don't know if the Star Trek movies are just going to stick to a trilogy, and that'd be kind of cool if it led up into an all-digital TV show. I think that's awesome. But yeah, like you said, I didn't really watch much of the TV series either. I was busy watching other things. There's lots of Spider-Man cartoons I had to watch growing up.
And then X-Men.
Yeah, exactly. So when it came down to Star Trek, I think just at the ages we came into it, the show was either really old like the original series, or we just were interested in other things at the time when the Next Generation came up. But I have seen a couple Next Generation movies. I've seen the J.J. Abrams movies. I'm familiar with the zeitgeist of Star Trek. So if a new series drops, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, so I mean, while we've been talking here, I kind of pulled up because this came out earlier in the week. But from I guess the Venture Capital Post, I don't know how reputable they are. They say that the TV show will not tie into the movie.
Okay.
Which, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. I would much rather it tie into the movie now, since they have essentially created a new universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the whole point of the first and second one. I mean, they don't have to pull the characters because movie characters are expensive.
Yeah.
But I would like to see something more futuristic because even then, everything felt older back then, kind of like a Star Wars vibe. Like it's the future, but it's not the future.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's just kind of one of those things, with Star Trek. These adventures of Starfleet can happen at almost any century or any decade, so they can kind of just plug them in at a timeline, and it doesn't even really matter if they connect or not. But either way, I think it's cool. Science fiction on TV is never a bad idea, because most of the time it just is on the Sci-Fi Network or some random network that you don't really get a chance to see. So CBS is a big station. They're going all digital with that push, so I'm excited.
Well, now, CBS All Access means you essentially can you buy that through CBS? Do you know, or do you have to have a cable subscription?
I mean, I have no idea. I mean, CBS is a broadcast network. You don't need cable to watch it. You can just watch it on a digital antenna. So I would imagine if they're going digital, maybe it would not require.
It is its own thing. I just did a quick Google search while you're doing that. You can try 1 week free. It has 7,500 episodes on demand. But like the shows I'm seeing here are like The Talk and Survivor. And I mean, I guess Star Trek is the biggest shows they have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be something similar. This is one thing that I wanted to talk about on the show. Maybe at some point in the time, we'll have to carve up a little section of our week to see what it's like. But the CW has their own app called CW Seed. And they have an animated DC exclusive show on there with a character called Vixen. Yeah. I've been wanting to watch that because I follow the one of the artists for the show on Instagram, and he puts up some of the art up there, and it looks like the Arrow and Flash pop up in that show, and their character designs are identical to the CW shows.
That technically the Vixen exists in the Flash Arrow universe.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because that's a character I think it'd been in an Arrow episode, and that kind of maybe it was supposed to be a live action show. They didn't have the money, so they went animated, and that's kind of what it is. So it does exist in that universe. So those characters do cross over.
Yeah, so maybe when we get some downtime in between these movies and shows, if it ever happens, we'll pick up Vixen and see what's going on.
Yeah.
If we have any listeners out there watching Vixen on the CWC app, Seed app, I believe that's the only place you can watch it. Let us know.
Yes, because it's not something I reached out for, but yeah. Let's go into some other news here. Warcraft.
Yeah, this was a big deal this week, man.
Did you ever play the games?
No, so this is kind of interesting. So we're going to talk about this trailer, and from my point of view, it's going to be knowing nothing about Warcraft. What about you?
I have played the original games, like from the 90s, early 2000s,
and that's like the overhead
RTS
display
ones,
RTS. Okay,
yeah. So I played those, the 1 and 2. Actually, I didn't even get to 3, but I never played World of Warcraft. Never bought into it. But this trailer from Duncan Jones, son of David Bowie, is interesting.
Yeah, so this is kind of the way I look at it. Even though I've never played Warcraft, I don't know anything about the lore. If I had no idea the IP even existed, and then I saw this trailer, I wouldn't think anything else about it. I'd be like, okay, it just looks like a really expensive fantasy movie, okay. But knowing that it's based on a pre-existing popular IP, it gets me a little bit more interested. So that kind of makes me a little nervous, knowing that the trailer didn't exactly wow me. Like it was cool. I kind of got a vibe somewhere between Avatar with all the computer generated characters and a little bit of Hobbit. Some people were kind of saying a little Lord of the Rings. I was just like, no. Lord of the Rings, they tried to go, I feel like they went a little bit more on the practical side, whereas The Hobbit had a lot more fantastical CG things going on. So that's kind of where I felt. Somewhere in between Hobbit and Avatar. So those aren't the best feelings to drum up when you're watching a trailer. I think it would be kind of cool to see. I feel like I would be entertained, but I don't know if this is going to launch a $1 billion franchise necessarily.
So I agree with you. The first 2 movies I thought was Avatar and Hobbit.
Okay.
It doesn't have that quality that Avatar has, which kind of leads to the Hobbit looks. Like it wasn't fully polished, but it's all there. Like the whole thing feels CG. Like even the real people feel CG.
Yeah, and I know some people out there will say like, well, it's the first trailer, the CG might not be done. It's just like, oh, I totally get that. I'm not rating it on the quality of the frames that I'm seeing. I'm saying the majority of the movie seems to be CG and not practical. So I'm just like, well, how am I going to watch this movie and feel like I'm living in the world with these characters? I'm not too sure, but it can still be fun and not amazing.
It probably will be fun, but I'm not going to see this in theaters. I have to be honest from the get-go. Unless trailer 2 blows me out of the water, I have no investment in this, and I'm not looking to put my investment in this from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Simply because the similarities of other things I've seen that have probably done it better, or at least I didn't care about them enough that I want to go see something more of that.
Yeah, I mean, the Warcraft just franchise, whether it's World of Warcraft or the original games, I mean, they've touched millions of people, whether they were subscribers at one point in time or they were just playing it on their old PCs back in the day. But they still have a lot of work to do where they have to educate a general population of what's going on here, because at the face value, it seems relatively generic. Okay, we have orcs, we have fantastical creatures that are looked down upon by the humans, and they're going to fight each other, but then it looks like they're going to try to come together. I can kind of see where the movie's going to go already without much difficulty. So I'm going to need to see another trailer, just like you said.
So this is one of those things. I think this is the low point of video game movies before we get Assassin's Creed.
Oh, you think so?
This is the valley. This is, they say it's darkest before the dawn. Judging by how much money they've had to probably put into this movie and how much they're going to get out, they're going to lose.
Yeah, well, I don't know, because I feel like you know what? It's just weird. Like, obviously I don't want it to fail. I want to see good video game movies, but I guess this is the way I'll put it. We have Warcraft and Assassin's Creed coming out. I think Assassin's Creed has a much better probability of being a hit than Warcraft. That I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Well, the reason is, first off, there are no big names in this movie at the get-go. I think the main human is the guy from Vikings, and one of the villains, or I don't know even who plays the ogre. One of the other ogres is Toby Kebbell, who was Doctor Doom in Fantastic Four. I mean, not that they're going to push him forward on anything right now, but there's no big names drawing me into this movie or anybody else. The common moviegoer, and I just feel like they're putting a lot of hope in this. This feels a lot like the Final Fantasy movie.
Oh yeah,
because I mean, I don't know if you guys remember that it was a CG movie. I mean, it had the voice cast. Agent May from S.H.I.E.L.D. She was the voice of Mulan, but she was also the voice of the main character in that movie as well. And they had like a bald one who was big at the time. But it didn't tie into the other games, and I don't feel this one ties into the other games very well. So I feel like feels like Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within more than it feels like as hopeful as I do for Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd love to hear from our listeners if anybody's like a hardcore Warcraft person, whether it's World of Warcraft or the old games. I want to know if this makes you excited at all, because coming from our point of view, we're not really huge into the games. I've never played really any of them. I want to know if people felt more of a connection to these characters. Yeah,
definitely. I agree. I want to hear what other people think, because I mean, I think we're the wrong audience for this, because it's not going to make me go out and buy the game if that's their goal. So there's that. However, two people were in the trailer I saw. One is the guy who played Howard Stark in all the Marvel movies, and the chick who played Reyna in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, it's funny. I thought I felt like I saw Howard Stark's character in there, but I only watched the trailer once. So.
Very briefly. I did. I went and looked it up. They're also in Preacher, the next trailer we got this week.
Yeah, so I want to know what you thought about Preacher, because I've seen some different mixed feelings about this trailer, so I want to get your opinion first.
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I have to be honest. I have no attachment to the actual comic book series it's based on, but Dominic Cooper, Howard Stark, or the guy who plays Preacher, talking to that little kid about killing people, and then like the action shows up. It feels awesome. It feels like this is a Jessica Jones Daredevil level series to me, and I think that supernatural / religious, anti-religious aspect is gonna be perfect for Dominic Cooper to hit on this show. Now, what do you think?
Well, I really love Dominic Cooper. I mean, he's already been relatively successful in Hollywood now. He's been in a couple Marvel movies. He's been in he's been in not Jessica Jones. Why am I blanking on the show Agent Carter? So he was in that, and I think he's great. He's just very charming. He's very fun to watch on screen, and I think he's going to be great in this show. And I think it also helps that when the trailer opens, it opens on the AMC logo, and I think you can trust AMC with their quality that they put into their shows. So there's a nice aspect of trust when it comes into this trailer, and plus it just looks fun. Some people weren't very excited when they saw this trailer, but it's not that type of comic book show. There's not going to be explosions. There's not science fiction. They're not going to be like cool guns or superpowers. To my knowledge, it seems like it's going to be more grounded. It's going to be more drama. It's going to be more thriller. And yeah, I love the aspect of Preacher being this really complex character. I think it's going to be really, really cool. I love the vibe of it. Dominic Cooper looks like he's super rad in it. One of the characters I had to look up who he was. He's just one of the other guys in the trailer. He was I think he played Simon in that show Misfits.
Okay. Is it the guy who kind of looks like the Penguin in Gotham?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's cool. I'm loving that I'm seeing him in something else. So yeah, I think this show's gonna be really fun. I like that it seems a little bit more grounded. We're gonna get to hear more stories, more human connection. I think it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I think this takes out the superhero aspect of everything and makes it more supernatural. Mm-hmm. And Dominic Cooper, that dry humor that I think he can pull off really, really well. I'm excited for Preacher. Again, AMC they've done well. They've got The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead. They had Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. They've had Mad Men. They've had so many good shows. If something makes it to their airwaves, it's been vetted by some talented people.
Yeah, and the point is, like, they've lost their biggest shows, so now they got some money to dump into something else to do well. To do well, like you said, and that's kind of why I'm excited for Preacher. This isn't going to be one of those Powers thing where I stop watching. I'm going to stick with Preacher through the whole thing because I think it will draw you in every week. Mm-hmm. And I think this goes great along with Lucifer, which comes out in the spring on Fox. Like that supernatural aspect is kind of taken off lately, since superheroes aren't really gaining too much traction, I feel, on TV, more so than Supernatural's coming back. So I don't know. I'm excited. Links below. Let us know what you guys think of Preacher. I think the only complaint I read online was he doesn't wear his signature bright white jeans that he does in the comics, and I'm like, that's it. That's all you can complain about.
He's a human. He's a real person. He's got to change every once in a while. He might be in between loads of laundry during this trailer. Give him a break.
I hope they do a nod where he's like at like some sort of like clothing store and he stops at the white jeans and then like just goes on. That's like a nod. Yeah, I mean the bar fight scene, I think at the end there, like that looks fun. Like this guy's a fighter in some ways, and I kind of want to see what he does with that.
Me too.
So, cool, Preacher. That's the thing. So, Greatest American Hero. Are you familiar with this?
I have no idea what this is.
So this was an old TV show, like an early, I guess, superhero style film, TV series from 81 to 83 on ABC. Okay,
so this is why I haven't heard of it because I wasn't born yet.
Yes, so I'll tell you how I know it here. So there's a guy who's a public school teacher for special education.
Okay.
And aliens give him a suit which gives him superhuman abilities.
Okay.
And he works with the FBI to go on adventures and stuff like that.
Okay.
Right? So but the point of it is more of a comedy because he hates wearing the suit and he loses the instruction manual on how to do it, so he has to learn to use his powers by trial and error.
Oh, well, I guess now that you say it might have a more humor angle, I'm way more on board. I went from this is going to be canceled after one episode to I might give it a shot.
Yeah, so this lasted, I believe, 2 seasons or three seasons back in the early 80s, and the theme song is what I know it for, because in Seinfeld, George takes the music and leaves a voicemail, not voicemail, a recording message.
Oh, that's where that song's from.
Yes, there you go. See, like, so you know where it's from. The theme song is called "Believe It or Not."
Oh, I knew it and I didn't know it.
Yeah, it actually was in the top 40 of the Billboard Hot 100 in 81.
Can you imagine the show creator, the guy who created the show back in the 80s? He's like, oh man, my show was canceled only after a couple seasons. It's just like, don't worry, I have a feeling that maybe in 2016 it might come back.
Yeah, that's the thing now, to reboot old shows.
This guy's probably just ecstatic. He never knew this show was going to come back.
Yeah, so I just think that's funny. I see a lot of his logo, like, because every superhero has a logo, right? Mm-hmm. Looks a lot like the old Green Lantern logo, the original Green Lantern.
Okay.
Like the Earth 2 Green Lantern, I guess is what it's called now. But like it looks a lot like that logo, and that's why I always get confused. But if you ever see it, imagine kind of like a rectangle with a point, like a kind of like a stake down the middle of it.
All right.
So if you guys ever get a chance to look up, Greatest American Hero, go for it. It's being revived at Fox. Long story short, sorry about that. To get to the news point, but it was on ABC. Talking about being revived at Fox. Fox is just desperately grabbing everything, I feel, right now.
I guess.
It has what, Gotham?
It has Gotham. I believe it should just concentrate on these possible X-Men shows. So.
Yeah, yes. So it's got Fox, and then Fox has Gotham, and you say X-Men, but like everything else is kind of there. Like, man, even Gotham. I'm sorry. Jim wrote us again on Twitter saying that he enjoyed Gotham, and I'm like, not for us. That's not our thing.
Someone's got to watch it.
Yeah. So instead, why don't we talk about Van Helsing?
Ah, Van Helsing. What's going on over here?
Apparently, Sci-Fi wants to pick it up as a TV series.
All right.
I don't know how I feel about this. It's a futuristic one, not a medieval, and it has a female lead.
Okay. I mean, a female lead is cool and all, but Van Helsing sounded cool until you said futuristic, and then I just imagined stupid things happening with smartphones and werewolves and Snapchatting vampires, and I'm just not excited.
So you so you think Underworld?
Yeah, I don't know. Like Van Helsing is cool. I think it would have been cooler if we kept him period, but I don't know. Sci-Fi is always totally hit or miss when it comes to the show. I don't know if anybody out there watches Z Nation, but it's a very poppy pop culture, not pop culture, just poppy, very goofy zombie show that was renewed for a third season. That show is actually surprisingly fun to watch. There's some up and down points when it comes to the budget per episode, I feel like. So sometimes they're really stretching the imagination with props, but it's a really, really fun show. So, Sci-Fi can create good things. So maybe Van Helsing could be good. I don't know.
Yeah, like the thing is, I imagined the Van Helsing movie with Hugh Jackman, which I enjoyed. It's fun. I don't take it seriously. I don't think it's a masterpiece. I think it's fun. Mm-hmm. But Kate Beckinsale was not the lead, but like the female character in that movie. But taking her and putting her in Celine's role from her Underworld, which is all like futuristic and tight black leather, and mixing those two together, and that's kind of where I'm seeing this.
Yeah.
They've done that with like Grimm and like all those like Once Upon a Time things they're doing with like all the other channels. So like I think it's just one of those deals.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If these properties were investments on Wall Street, I would not invest in Van Helsing. I would not invest in Greatest American Hero, and I probably wouldn't invest in Warcraft.
See, I'd invest in Warcraft simply because of the video game. Because my guess, Blizzard's a great company, right? They've done great. I love Diablo. StarCraft has an expansion coming out this week, but they need to relaunch World of Warcraft into like the modern age. I think it's been out like 15 years now.
Heck, you know what? If Warcraft does good, which I'm hoping it does, I would love a Diablo movie. That would be awesome.
Oh, that would be kick-ass. I like watching the movie scenes on those just alone. But yeah, I'd put money in that. What about Harry Potter? You like Harry Potter?
Oh, man, Harry Potter's cool. My wife is infatuated and love big super mega star of Harry Potter.
Mine, too. My fiance dressed as Luna Lovegood for Halloween.
Oh, nice.
But she got really mad because I tell her, oh, she's Harry Potter girl. because trying to explain to other people who don't know is kind of hard, right? And then she's like, "Why don't you know my name?" I'm like, "Well, tell me my character's name." And she's like, "Dumb and Dumber." I'm like, "Nice try." So that was a funny story. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is the next Harry Potter movie. It does not involve Harry Potter. It involves Newt Salamander, I believe is his name.
I think it's Scarmander, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess Salamander is a type of newt. Newt
Maybe not.
Scamander.
Oh, okay. We were getting there. Maybe if we combine the two.
We are two sides of the same coin. But the first images from the movie have released. And Eddie Redmayne is the main character there who plays this Newt character. And he's been in a bunch of other British things and movies. And this looks interesting, to say the least.
It looks fun. When I see these photos, I'm like, this is going to be a fun movie.
I agree. We need to go back to Harry Potter world, but we don't need to go with Harry Potter. We need to go to a lighter time. And I think this is where it is, because I think the movie follows this Newt guy as he writes his book on fantastical creatures in the wizarding world.
Yeah, exactly. Me and my wife have had many sidebar conversations about the future of the Harry Potter movies, and it's fun because she's really interested and infatuated with it. So we've kind of talked about how this might be a way to delve into these other side books. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is not necessarily a Harry Potter book. It's kind of like a novelty type thing where you can kind of go by one of the class books that a Harry Potter that a Hogwarts student might have. So that's kind of the novelty of the actual book. There's not necessarily a narrative in it to say. So I think it's cool that they're kind of taking these fringes of it and turning it into a story. And plus, I believe J.K. Rowling has screenplay credits on this movie. She's also delving back into the universe with her 2-part play that she's doing after the Harry Potter original 7 books. So she's totally into it. I mean, J.K. Rowling's rich beyond belief. I mean, she has so much money she's given it away. I believe at one point she was a billionaire, but then she gave away a bunch of money, and now she's just a doting millionaire author, no big deal or anything.
Well, I think the thing about her is she does it so well. It's not. I don't think she's doing it for a money grab. I think she just loves the characters. Building this universe. Harry Potter feels a lot like Star Wars right now. They can go do these offshoot movies and build the legacy of Harry Potter without having to actually touch the main universe.
Yeah.
The best part is this is directed by David Yates, who did Harry Potter 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, and those were great movies. Well, I guess for book 7 part 1 was kind of meh, but that's kind of the studio cash grab more than him. Yeah,
but I mean, of all the things, those are not the worst movies by far. So I mean, that's awesome. I'm glad to see these images for Fantastic Beasts. Seeing a wizard's wand in a hand is thrilling, especially since we haven't had it in so long.
Yeah, it's super fun, and I like the idea of this is not necessarily a prequel. But it's before the time of Harry Potter. And, because usually when I go into prequels, I just have this weird layer of doubt on me that I'm seeing a movie where I already know the ending. And this is just totally different. This is in the same universe, but not the same story, which I love.
Yeah, totally agree with you there. So we'll keep you updated on that. I think it doesn't necessarily fall under superheroes, but I think this falls under something very close to us that we'll probably keep you updated on as we get closer to the movie next year.
Yeah, and it's fun.
Yes. Another trailer we had through this is Alice Through the Looking Glass, which is the sequel to, I think, Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, I'll tell you how much I care about this trailer. I halfway watched it with the volume up while I was taking a crap in the bathroom on my smartphone.
I don't know. That's pretty important. I don't waste that time, to be honest with you. What I didn't know that they were making a sequel to the Tim Burton movie. This is not Tim Burton directing it. However, it seems to bring back the Mad Hatter, Alice, and the Red Queen characters.
Yeah, it's never a good sign for a movie when the first time when you find out they're making a sequel for it is when you get to see the trailer. Because if you're excited enough about it and it has enough hype, you know, and you're looking for like set photos and things like that.
I would normally say that, but I will use Kingsman as an example of when I did not know they were producing a movie.
Well, yeah, but that was kind of an original movie, no pre-existing.
Okay, this one does. This one is a sequel. Yeah, However, the trailer for this, it looks to be goofy as ever. I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah, I didn't finish the trailer really. Like I said, I probably moved on to wiping at that point in time to get a little graphic.
With the trailer.
I mean, like, I didn't see the first movie. I was honestly shocked when I saw they're making a second one. I was even more shocked when I heard, I think this made like $1 billion worldwide, which is huge. I mean, I think that's just more with the name recognition. You got Johnny Depp and Tim Burton, Alice in Wonderland, 3 very well-known entities coming together. I'm sure there's people out there that like the movie. I've seen a lot of people cosplaying from it, especially the Johnny Depp character.
I think it suffers from too much CG. Much like a lot of modern movies do. Yeah, I watched it, but Tim Burton, I like watching his Beetlejuice when he was just practical effects, and too much computer just totally ruined that movie for me.
I mean, the movie's just not for us. That's what it comes down to.
Yes, but it was a trailer, and we wanted to acknowledge that it does exist, whether we'll watch it or not.
Yeah.
Lastly on the news, I watched Spectre this week.
Yeah, I think this is a good way to tie up the end of the show here. I did not see Spectre just because I'm a Bond fan. We've talked about it on the show, but I'm not a opening release weekend Bond type of guy. And plus, my wife isn't the biggest fan either. She didn't grow up watching the movies, so when I get around to seeing it, it'll be probably just me.
Yes, so I did get around. I didn't watch any Bond movies until the past few years. Once they were on Amazon, I started to watch them, but this was after Skyfall even coming out. So this was between Skyfall and here. I was watched them. But over the past month, I've taken one a week and watched the most recent James Bond movies, the Daniel Craig ones, and got to Spectre, and I give it a 2.5 out of 5.
Wow, I wasn't expecting it to be that low.
That's hard to say. I'm very coming from a film background. That's not low to me. That's just average. This is not a movie I'm going to tell you to go watch, but at the same time, it is a movie. It's a competent film, and it's not horrible. So,
would you, comparing it to the Daniel Craig Bonds, where would you rank it? Because I think, obviously, Quantum of Solace is the bottom of the barrel, right?
It depends. It really depends. This is a beautiful-looking movie. This looks just as good as Skyfall, but I think it's just as forgettable as Quantum of Solace.
Okay.
It relies a lot on you having watched the other 3 movies.
Okay, gotcha.
And I'd liken it to Star Trek Into Darkness.
Okay.
Because we were told that movie's something, but it ended up being something else. And I think this is the same way. This is a Star Trek Into Darkness of James Bond movies.
Some interesting parallels you're drawing there. So, yeah, I guess, with that, you're not exactly telling people to rush out and see it. So, and I wasn't going to plan on rushing out and seeing it either. I've heard people saying, people that say Casino Royale is their favorite film, which I would agree. I love that movie too. People are saying that this is just as good as Skyfall. If not, maybe a notch or 2 below, possibly a notch or 2 up, depending on who you talk to. So it doesn't sound like it's a slam dunk home run out of the park. I guess they had a lot to overcome when it came to that last movie when it came out. People love Skyfall. I thought it was good. I wasn't the biggest fan of Skyfall, but it sounded like they still had a lot of legwork to do.
I agree. Having watched all 4 of them in the past month, I would still say Casino Royale is my favorite. Simply because it didn't. It had nothing to go on beforehand. It just did its own thing, and then the other ones tried to outdo it, but just kind of got bogged down in itself. That and Daniel Craig looks like a walking potato.
Yeah, I've heard that criticism too. That Daniel Craig is, he's an action star, in these movies, but he's not necessarily bringing much personality to the character,
Yeah, he's no Sean Connery, that's for sure. So yeah, this it's not horrible, but I'm not gonna say it is my favorite movie this year.
Oh man, we're ending the show here on kind of a moot point. It sounds like.
Yeah. I just kind of want to let people know, if you're dying to see it, don't. From me, my point of view, you can wait until you get a screening that's not packed and watch it. But again, I talked to Brian from Comic UI. He's a big James Bond fan. Big James Bond fan. He really, really enjoyed it, and he said the thrill ride for him was what was it was in the movie, then he was looking for that. So
yeah, I mean, and that's really what it comes down to when you have spy action movies. It's gotta be a fun thrill ride. So I guess if
the action sequences deliver.
Okay, that's good. That's kind of the main box you need to check with these movies anyway. So that's awesome. Did he order a martini, shaken not stirred at all?
I think several times.
Well, okay.
And Dave Bautista, known as Drax, was one of the henchmen in the films, and he did a great job.
He did a proper hinching.
He did. Not quite the metal mouth dude from the other movies, but he did great. So yeah.
Well, I think this was another successful week of superhero news goodness.
Yes, we had all sorts. We had ups and downs this week. I'll tell you what. Doctor Strange is still my favorite bit from this week. Simply because I'm so hyped for Doctor Strange. Hype.
Yeah, man.
And I think Star Wars is probably my least favorite because I don't want to get anything ruined.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh crap, we're at that point now.
Yeah, I think Fantastic Beasts was my favorite pinpoint of the week. It just looks so exciting. I love those images. But if they want to hear what else we're excited about, where can they find you, Chris?
Yeah, you can find me most likely ranting and fuming on Twitter at Valdan, VALDAN. Or be prepared to read Jessica Jones reviews on comicui.com on Facebook and just at the website itself in the coming weeks. Yeah. What about you, Mike? You been doing some drawings?
You know what? I get around. My pencil gets around. You can follow me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram and Twitter. You can always go to pickledcomics.com to read my webcomics. I mean, we have a kind of a pseudo-secret, not secret project coming up between the two of us. We're going to combine some of your research and writing with some of my drawing skills, and hopefully we can have them all combined on a possibly Apple Pencil iPad Pro drawing combination. And then I'm working on here. I'm still waiting for that thing to drop on sale.
That's not a plug if I'd ever heard of
it. We're gonna have to see how this works out. I have to get a hold of one first.
That's okay. I have a 5K iMac at work. I can edit these podcasts on now. So
nice.
Not that we'll ever upload in 4K or 5K, but we have the opportunity now if we ever wanted to.
Yeah, well, I'll tail in this little Apple plug by saying, I wonder if the Apple TV has that CWC app.
I will find out since I own the new Apple TV.
Yeah, so go see if you can watch Vixen on your TV then.
I will. Hot damn, this has been a good show. What else? Where else can they find us, Mike? You do this part. This is your part. You got it down.
All right, I'll do a little stretching here. Okay, as always, please visit superheroslate.com. That is the best place to find everything if you don't want to try to decipher any URLs that we're throwing at you. We're on iTunes, YouTube with awesome videos up there that you make, SoundCloud, Tumblr. You can subscribe via email and just get it right to your inbox. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. By gosh, we're just everywhere.
Anywhere internet access is available, you can find us.
Yeah. If you're a fan of the show, please consider going over to iTunes and leaving us a review. That's super great. It's really helpful for the show. And if you're a super fan, please share the show with a friend. I actually saw a couple of our listeners through from social media notifications here and there. It looks like they were sharing the show with people, and I love that.
Yes, thank you guys for that. Thank you. And I kind of want to end the show on one note right now. I have a question regarding Star Wars.
Okay.
My comic book store bought out a theater for a showing, right?
Wow.
And they're giving out tickets as prizes for the 10 p.m. showing the night of. But I already have tickets to the 7 p.m. showing.
Oh, no.
Should I enter the contest to get out of one screening and go watch it again down the road at 10 o'clock, or should I just let them have it?
I think if you can feasibly make it work, you got to do it, because I think it would be super cool watching a movie with people that are just as super geeked out as you are.
Okay, you know what? You're right. I'll go for it. They will. I will enter their contest to the best of my ability.
Yeah, and plus, by the time you make it into that East Coast viewing of your second show, I might be going into my first showing on the West Coast.
That's true.
So maybe we can both come out of a showing at the same time.
That would be. I guess epic.
It'd be super rad.
Yes. So all right then. Well, that's good for the show. We'll catch everybody next week.
All right, baby. See you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.